First, I just wanted to say that this was our dad's favorite thing to do, was have his friends over, eat good food together, drink together, play games together. So in honor of him, that's what we're doing here today. So thanks for coming, guys, and thanks for being in our lives and in our dad's lives. And he loved each of his friends and family so very much. So thanks. My mom.
You gotta be close to it.
We're really short.
So my mom asked me to share a message and the story of her and Jeff. So Jeff is here. I know he is because he loved all of us so much. And more than anything, he loved sharing food, beers, games, and stories with his people. We are proud to see so many of his people here today. Thank you. Jeff also loved to tell our story. It's magic, and when your life is dusted with magic, it's the story you find yourself eager to repeat. As I thought of a story to share with you, it seemed this is the one that most profoundly changed the course of both our lives. As magical stories go, of course it started here. We met at this front door, and we were connected from that moment on. Love at first sight, he always said. All the lessons life had taught us, all the people who'd come in and out of our lives, all the challenges, joys, the deep conversations, wild adventures, varied experiences, all made sense now because they prepared us for this relationship, this love. We were excited about exploring and experiencing the miracle of finding our person, our soulmate, the love of our lives. We poured ourselves into creating the best version of ourselves, and when together, no matter the circumstance, we were one, and the shade from our love protected and sustained us. We bound our lives so tightly to one another, it became impossible to find where I ended and Jeff began. Everything we experienced was richer when we were together. We grew to respect and care for each other in the kindest, most gentle, loving way. His loving soul wanted so badly to give each of you today, to connect with him one last time. Losing him, holding him as he let go of the pain that life had become, leaves me crippled in a way I cannot describe. Within the warmth of these children and this home, I am insulated. These children we wove into a family have threads of both of us. They feel like him. They feel like our love. We feel him in each corner of our home. We eat the foods you bring. We laugh. We toast him. We play the games he taught us. We share recent and distant memories of him. And in all we do, we miss his smile, his touch, his laughter. So we cry hard. We read your messages, we feel you, and I appreciate how you embrace our children and are supporting them through this devastating loss. They are venturing out and you are sustaining and celebrating them. Thank you. Sealing myself into our love, our family, our home, this feels like all I am capable of right now. But I am grateful to know that when I am able, I will have you to share and continue Jeff's story with. For today, please know that although this is too soon for me to reach out to you for comfort, I am listening and hungry to hear your stories, celebrating the man I admired and will spend the rest of my life adoring and appreciating the magical gift that is and will always be our never-ending love.
Turned up to 11. Okay, thank you everybody for coming. Jeff assigned me with this project today, and he told me if I messed it up, he goes, I'm there, I'm listening. And For those of you that don't know me, I'm John Williams, and I first met Howie when he was a substitute teacher for me about 33 years ago. We became great friends and went on many adventures and spent many years as colleagues at Boulder High School. He beat the hell out of me regularly in just about every sport you can think of, and even in ones I think he invented, like washers. What's up with washers? He asked me to begin this day of memories. So Howie was so loved by his family, friends. How he so loved his family, friends, and nature. I know that being so isolated during treatment was terrible, but the fighter in him continued to rally, and he did not give up hope. When I FaceTimed him, the old Howie shined through. He lit up with energy, brightness, despite his situation. For those of you that were texting him, you always saw a string of emojis attached. Love, goofy face, thankfulness, crazy happy, cool, maybe a pile of poop. Always, 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 though, peace sign. All these pictures, Howie with the peace sign. He was a great dad to Carly, Emily, and then to Henry, Zoe, and Camille, who have done so much to rally to his and Wendy's side during this difficult time. As a teacher and a friend, Howie would be the guy to do the right thing and not let things slide. He influenced thousands of kids to care about history, justice, and getting into these mountains through outdoor education. Could you imagine Howie doing anything but teaching? I tried to picture him as an accountant, sitting there, staring out the window, watching somebody bike down the road, or gazing at the mountains. The boss would have to tell him, "It's not working out," to which Howie would reply with a smile, "That's okay. This job's kind of lame anyway." He liked the word lame. Howie treasured Wendy, and he just lit up when he talked about her. We've all seen that. Throughout this entire battle with cancer, Wendy has tenaciously fought for Howie. Making sure that every doctor was on their game and that she watched over every medical technician and procedure that he endured. Her intelligence, heart, and dedication to him and Team Howie through Caring Bridge has been deeply moving for us all. I know a little about the extended Howie family and that they are a principled clan who has stood by him throughout his life. Judging from Howie as a finished product, they must be a righteous bunch, willing to throw down for the forces of good. They probably also throw a fine frisbee. I can also surmise that they must be fierce competitors who hate to lose. If you were ever lucky enough to beat one of them in a game of washers, I'm guessing they'd say, "Best of 3?" And the dear friends of Howie, who are fiercely there for him throughout this ordeal. As a Team Howie community, we contributed over $200,000 to help him pay for whatever was possible to save our friends. His friends have been there for him, and we are now here for each other. Last night I was putting this together and my phone was buzzing away with a flood of texts, finalizing an idea to create scholarships for Boulder High students in Howie's name. Howie would have been profoundly moved by all the love and support of you. And it's fitting that we are here on this hallowed ground today. Howie opened his house weekly for FACs and parties. Initially, I wondered how his neighbors could put up with all the sound of screams as somebody pipes a washer or sinks a beanbag in a cornhole. The trick is he got them to love him just as much as his friends did. Maybe 5 times Howie hosted Christmas parties here, which were called curry blowouts, to a staff of more than 125 people. People jammed in and developed trust in one another. Howie's generosity did so much more to pull the staff of our school together than the tens of thousands of dollars spent on team building and services. The Boulder Valley School District should have a brass plaque mounted in the front yard saying that it was on this spot that Boulder High became a truly great school. And while I was out biking yesterday, I was thinking about Howie's code and what he lived by, and so here's a shot at it. Love the earth and teach others to do the same. Go all in, get involved, and give back to the community. Seize the day, seize the night, seize life. Get outside, grab your skis, get on your bike, pick up your racket, pummel somebody on the court. fill your life with love, and above all, make a difference. Thank you. Another Mark and David.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I know from our family, your all being here brings Jeff that much closer right now to us, especially in the midst of all this absence that we also feel. So we've all been so much richer because of his presence, and I know through all the stories we hear today, we're going to really feel that. And we're also all the poorer right now because of his absence. But being together is the way we can celebrate and mourn together. Thank you. My brother lived as he died in the midst of family and friends, surrounded by love and by the celebrations of life. Jeff embodied the joy de vivre, the joy of life. He lived and loved his life as fully as anyone I know. In fact, his only fear that I was ever aware of was his fear of missing out on some wonder or amazing event or something that he might be left out of or, not be able to do. And I'm sure some of your stories will chime in on that one. Jeff and I shared two of the most defining moments of my life. He accompanied me to Alaska when we went to search for our brother Randy, who had been lost in a kayaking accident. And then we stayed to celebrate his life with all of Randy's friends in a situation very similar to this, on a cliff that was looking out over a river that Randy loved. And we got to know all of them just like we're getting to know you, and through knowing them, we got to know him even all the more. The following year, Jeff and David and I went up to hike up to the Annapurna Sanctuary in honor of Randy, because for years we had been planning that exact trip, and we kept putting it off because one or another of us was doing something that just kept us from being together. And then Randy died. So we couldn't, of course, do it with him. But the three of us did it. And once again, Jeff was there, now not at one of the lowest points of my life, like when Randy died, but now at one of the highest points of my life, literally up in the Annapurnas, but also literally one of those real highlights. Who knows where we will be and how we will commemorate Jeff's life a year from now. Wherever and however it may be, I know that he, like Randy, will be with us, comforting us and rejoicing in this great cosmic mystery in which we are all engulfed. Thank you.
Unlike everyone else, I didn't prepare notes. You're going to have to bear with me if I start rambling. I'm just one and favorite sister, Lisa. And Joe has been part of our family, favorite brother-in-law, and only, since 1976. So he was like another big brother to Jeff. And as Jeff always said, it's because of Joe they got so interested in baseball and sports and all. Not the rapid sports you guys do, but watching sports. Jeff was, I know most of us here didn't get a chance to say our final goodbye to him, but he's feeling it now. And he always looked at me, and he knew, and I think every one of you knew when he looked at you, that he knew how much you loved him and how much we were all going to miss him. When our brother Randy died, it was actually the day before our daughter Elizabeth was born. And we've raised our children to know Randy. They know his friends, and through our story, Randy has lived on, and every one of them feels as though they know Randy, even though they never met him. That is our intention now with our grandchildren, that they will get to know him. I know that was Jeff's, one of the things he said to Wendy is that he was so sad that he wouldn't get to see him grow up. So we hold on to that and know that he is at peace and looking down on us and hearing everything that we're saying about him. So as far as Jeff goes, as my little brother, I was only 6 when he was born. I had desperately wanted a sister because I already had 3 brothers. So when my mom called me to tell me she had yet done it again and had a brother, I threw down the phone, as only a 6-year-old can, but already at 6 I was blaming my mother that she didn't bring me that sister. But as soon as he walked into that house, I fell in love with him. Everyone has always called me a baby hog, and I know it started with Jeff. I just couldn't get enough of him to a point where I wanted to take him to show and tell for kindergarten. But Mom wouldn't let me do that, but she let the whole class come over because the school was right behind our house, so the whole kindergarten class walked over to meet him. And all my friends have always considered Jeff, because we were so close, like another little brother to them, because I did so much with him and stuff. He will forever be in our hearts. We love him so much. And I have to tell you, every time one of you guys hugs one of us, it's sharing that grief. And in that, I feel like our heart heals just a little bit, and the pain is released a little bit, and the love for Jeff can be grown, that all of us can share and feel his presence. Thank you so much.
Can I add one
Yeah,
thing?
you got this, Ken.
Just one thing to add. When there's a time where you're debating on pushing the boundaries of life, go for it.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jeff's next oldest brother, the good one, not the bad one. And when I was a child, when Jeff and I were children, we shared a room. So we shared so many experiences together as kids. And even at that time, I thought he had 2 characteristics that lasted throughout his life. The third one came later. The 3 characteristics I consider when I think about Jeff. One is adventure and challenge. The second one is having fun. And the third one is an educator and inspirer. So when we were kids, even his adventurous and challenging spirits always came out. When we were very young, probably 5 years old, whenever there was a thunderstorm, 2 o'clock in the morning, he and I would rush to the window to see the lightning and thunder. Wow, this is so cool. And then we went to the woods almost every day when we were younger. And we would catch turtles, snakes, frogs, lizards. We both loved it. But being the older brother, I was the coolest, of course, right? So I was like, Jeff, check out this snake, and I'm holding it out like this, kind of shaking. He's, oh, wow, that's cool, Dad. He puts it around his neck and lets it slide around his body. It's like, that's typical. That's something that he's just always had. Damn, God, I got to be better than him about something, right? And then I came out here probably about 20 years ago when I came out. Jeff and I, part of his adventurous spirit, we had drinks. Believe it or not, he loved drinking as well. And we had a few drinks until about 1 o'clock in the morning. It's like, Jay, I think I'm ready for bed. Be serious! Ready for bed? This is the best time to go mountain cycling in the mountains. No way. Right? So here we go off to the mountains. And I'm an amateur, of course. I lived in Tokyo at that time, and I was like, we don't ever do mountain cycling in Tokyo. And so we go to the mountains and we're cycling. I wiped out probably about 10 times within about 20 minutes. And Jeff's like, come on, man, you can do it. But he just forced it. And it was great. It had a great time with him, and lucky to have survived. But anyhow, it was a wonderful time. Second characteristic, fun. As Mark said, after our other brother passed away, the 3 of us, Jeff, Mark, and I, went to Nepal, and we did a trek through Nepal. And he was not, as I said before, he was an inspirer, but he was also inspired. And when we were hiking, anybody know what Gobar is? Gobar. Yes. Yes? What is it? Come on, Carly. It's goat shit. Okay, goat poop. Okay, and so we're hiking in the mountains, three of us, and we're sitting there having lunch, and we see this big pile of goat poop on the side. And Jeff and I just look at each other. And we go, let's do it. Go bar fight! And we just started tossing it at each other. I mean, he would just look for ways to have fun. You know, he didn't care how proper it was, you know. Of course, I tried to resist, but he kind of forced me, right? So, but the third thing, being an educator and inspire. Of course, I always heard from many of you who were his co-teachers and some of you, I guess, as his students as well, and how great of an educator he was. And I thought, wow, you know, I hope I can be just as good. Of course, I thought I was better at the time, but I heard from everybody, it's like, wow, how can I ever be that good? But his last couple of years, he was the most inspirational person that I ever knew. Boy, what he went through, Wendy too, Wendy and Jeff together, what they went through, and still, the whole time, Jeff was thinking about how other people felt. He was always, even the last few days we were here, he just look around the room, make sure everyone was included in the conversation. And I was like, wow. He didn't teach me just about life. He taught me how to be gracious in death as well. We love you, Jeff, and we can feel your spirit here. Amen. John, I guess. Stewie.
I just have to add real fast that one of the reasons that we're doing this today is because he planned it. Before, a few days ago when he thought he was going to be here, he planned it so that he could be here for this. And the main reason he wanted to be alive for this was to be able to defend himself.
Why are you saying this as Howie goes up?
But you might ask from what? Well, he invited me, and like you said, he didn't, you've got to be careful what you ask for. You might get some guy from the rival high school. I think Jeff would love these. So, I do have a lot of prepared remarks, but before I say anything, I just want to say that I want to speak about Jeff as my best friend. But I know that a lot of you are going to hear yourself in that story because you are also his best friend. And I say that in all the love that Jeff gave to us because he had so much of himself to share that we could all share in being best friends with Jeff Howenstein, Howie. So my first gesture is I'm going to take these off. And I'm going to put on my purple. Rival high school, Fairview High School which is red and white versus, I can't remember the name of the other school. It was the first school, I know that, still the first. I used to give Howie such crap about that slogan, still the first high school in Boulder High with its purple and gold. So I know I got to keep this kind of short. And I started thinking about what I wanted to say because Jeff asked us to hold this so he could hear all the nice things that we were going to say about him because he didn't want to miss out. He had that he knew he would be missing out, and I think he is, as far as in physical sense, but I know that we can sense him all around, and he's here in all of us. I could think of a lot of things to say. I tried to distill it down. First thing I need to do is to stop and look at you all the way Howie would, and just know how awesome he thought we all were. Just to take that minute and just be in the moment, knowing that it's all happening and it's wonderful. Need to do one other thing. You know what this is, don't you? Oh, this is Jeff. All right. And does anybody want to hold one? You can have that one. Oh, sure. You also need this, of course. You need this. So, you can play that later. And the koozies.
Koozies. No, koozie.
I'm going to need this. Okay, now I think we're in Howie mode. I've enjoyed, by the way, my name's David, and you might know me as Stewie, thanks to Jeff, which I'm going to address here. I've enjoyed being Howie's friend for almost 30 years. I cherish how we raised family together. I'm so proud of any part I played in Emily and Carly's life as they grew up into the strong women that they are. I'm so grateful that Howie met Wendy and they got married, and he was blessed with her children as well. If you remember one thing that I say today is that Howie was a gift to me that I will always cherish. What was special about this guy and what made me and so many others fall in love with about him was the way he made you feel when you were with him. You never had to doubt that he was so happy that you were there with him. And from there, he would exact the best from you. And you wanted to be your best for him. I met him my first year of teaching at Casey Middle School, almost 30 years ago. I got to know him because we started to meet up after school to play basketball, one-on-one. We played 21, if you know that game. It's great. And as you know, when you play Howie at anything, it's really game on. And we would start off playing a few games, 2 out of 3, okay dude, 3 out of 5, and 4 out of 7, ad infinitum. But it didn't stop there with Howie, because soon he had invited more teachers to come and play and more people from the community, and soon we were running full court, 5-on-5, teams waiting. It was wonderful. You know, it was really fun, and I know you remember that, Sweeney. And it was all because of Howie. You know, it was just, let's keep adding. Let's keep bringing more people into the joy that we were sharing. We just celebrated Halloween, which reminds me of one of the best costumes I ever saw. And you can guess that it was Howie. He comes into Casey Middle School office with a big smile and his hair sticking out in all directions, and he's holding at arm's length an inside-out umbrella, and he's got this scarf wired to his neck, and it's going the same direction as the umbrella, and then down taped at his ankle is a newspaper that's jetting out that way, and he's going like this through the hall and through the office, and that was Windy Day guy, you know, and it was classic Howie, and so I'm so glad we have a Windy Day to complete that image. It's just awesome. I want to give you another image to kind of juxtapose. Howie, as you know and we've heard, he was relentlessly in motion. So one winter, I remember going up here to Brainerd Lake to cross-country ski or as he would say, go for a ski walk. In the winter, you drive up the road as far as you can until the road is not plowed, and so you park and then you ski in. You ski up and down for a ways, and you find yourself surrounded by acres and acres of pine forest. That day there was fresh snow on the ground, and it was still snowing lightly. We stopped for a drink and a snack. Okay, we stopped for a beer. He pulled it out just like that. He pulled it out of his pack. And we were standing on the mountain with snow at our feet and overcast white above, and there's snowing and deep green pine trees all around you. And Howie says, wait, Stewie. Shh. You hear that? It was perfectly quiet. And he says, that quiet, you hear it? That's what it's all about. And that's why we need to get out and be up here. And that was his gift of peace to me and to all of us. In 2004, I finally decided to go do a master's program at CU, and I kept telling Howie, you need to go and get your master's. You need to get it done. You know, as teachers, our pay scale depends on getting your master's. So I'm like, dude, go do it. But, you know, he's always on vacation. You know, he's always got plans. It's just like, I know I got to do it. But, you know. And so he finally signs up the same program I did through the Bueno Center here at CU for culturally and linguistically different learners. At the end of the program, the students go down to Puebla, Mexico for a few weeks practicum. I heard a few stories of his trip, and I don't think that they only were planning lessons at night. So he comes back, and the program is ending, and so, of course, Howie's hosting the graduation party for all the people in his cohort, and it's here on 31st Street. And he says, Stewie, you got to come by. And I said, okay, I'll come. And I come in, and the house is filled with grad students of all ages, some of his professors, and he didn't forget to include the college party in going back to college. You know, that was what was great. And one of the professors actually stands up here on the balcony, and he's thanking everybody for the program, and he, of course, thanks Jeff for hosting, but he doesn't call him Jeff. And nobody at that party calls him Jeff. They don't even call him Howie. You know what they call him? They call him Jefe. Jefe, which in Spanish means boss or leader. All right, Jefe. And I'm just like, only Howie. And so in so many ways, he was that for us. He was our Jefe. And it's always leading us to that next celebration, the next good time, that next great memory. It's only fitting that he got a nickname out of the master's program. Howie was great at coming up with nicknames for his friends. And that is a gift that he gave me that I didn't even ask for, I didn't necessarily even want, and that is Stewie. All right, growing up, I had a lot of nicknames, but never Stewie, and I never thought of myself as Stewie. All right, not once. We had another dear friend, and he's here, and his name's he's Howie's always calling him Sweeney, but that's his last name, right? So you know, it's Howie and Sweeney, and now I'm Stewie, and he actually also called you a lot Sween Dog, and I don't even want to know how that happened. Okay, good, thank you. So he started calling me Stewie when we were in one of our myriad competitions. I don't know if it was ping pong or washers, and I was probably beating him, you know, so he's probably telling me, calling me Stewie in the diminutive, you know, and I'm just putting up with it, you know, so I can, you know, just put up with his trash talk, which he could also do. And so I just let him have any advantage he wanted. And so I just let it slide. But pretty soon, our good friend Pedro is calling me Stewie too. And I know, okay, I guess this is it. I'm now Stewie. But I really knew it was over when I come over in my red. It's Friday, Spirit Day at Fairview High School. I come over to the Boulder High party, and it's filled with Boulder High teachers. And I'm getting ready to introduce myself as David, and some young teacher, I think it was Donaldson, he goes, "Hey, this is Stewie. This is Stewie." And so I just decided, okay, it's all over. And I just accepted that nickname, that gift from my friend. And I tell you, I will be Stewie to Jeff's Howie anytime. I have just one more thing to share with you, and that's with regard to my dear, dear friend, Jeff Howie, as you know. He was single, and he met Wendy. And it was his greatest fortune to meet Wendy. And I knew his goose was cooked soon after he met him, because they'd just gone out a few times, and he said, I met this woman, and she's just incredible. And you could see the lights in his eyes. It was just amazing. He had a more of a kick in his step than even Howie had. And of course, we found out later that it was the truest love that a person could be blessed with. And I got to tell you, as somebody who has given me so much in my life, that I was so glad that that gift was bestowed upon Jeff. So thank you. I appreciate it. I'll clean off my stuff. You got all your props?
Hi, I'm Sweeney. So many things that we share, including love of Howie, and one of them is stories. And in the last few days, in any moment of quietude, in all moments of quietude, I've been thinking Howie stories, and I bet that's something we all share. It's just been flooded with Howie stories. So many wonderful things and connections and community that Howie has created. But here's one. We took a bunch of middle schoolers up to Michigan Lakes in northern Colorado for a winter ski, 3 days of winter skiing. And at one point, Howie put together an elite squad of pretty hot shot 8th grade and 7th graders, 5 kids. And Samantha McBride and Howie and I were like, yeah, we got it. We weren't lost because we knew which drainage we went down. It was just not the right drainage. And, at a certain point, when it got dark, I looked over at Howie, and he had that look that we all know that just said, we're going to be okay. It's going to work. So when it started snowing, and the kids looked over at us, and I looked at Howie, and Howie was catching snowflakes on his tongue. This is going to be fun. This is going to work. We made it. I was talking to Emily earlier today and about one of the little family trips to Utah, and what Emily said is he took us all with him. He took us all with him, and that's what I really remember. I taught with him for a bunch of years at Boulder High in something called American Studies, big, huge classroom. He taught the history side, I taught the literature side of American studies. So this is when we were doing the Vietnam War, he would just be teaching the history side. And this is a quote from a book about the Vietnam War called The Things They Carried, one of his favorites, my favorites. And this quote, we talked about this a lot. 43 years old, and the war occurred half a lifetime ago, and yet the remembering makes it now. And sometimes remembering will lead to a story, which makes it forever. That's what stories are for. Stories are for joining the past to the future. Stories are for those late hours in the night when you can't remember how you got from where you were to where you are. Stories are for eternity. When memory is erased, when there is nothing to remember except the story.
Sorry, I gotta check my email. I'm good.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Luckily for most of you, my voice is a little out, so I won't make my 45-minute record at my 50th birthday party with my speech. But I'm gonna try. Wrong paper. So I'm Peter. I met Howie. We all taught at Casey Middle School together. Me, Howie, Stewie, Swing Dog. And that was many, many years ago. So, hey, Howie, you could have been an asshole. There'd be like 3 people sitting here. Me, Swing Dog, Stewie. Actually, it might just be Stewie, because he's the only saint left on the planet. We'd be eating stale Subway sandwiches, trying to twist our words into saying something nice about you. But instead, you were a good guy. A great guy. Best guy. And now we're all miserable. We're gonna cry, but we're gonna talk, we're gonna tell stories. And I've got like 5.5 hours worth of stories to tell about Howie. But the stopwatch Gestapo over here is gonna hold me at like 4 or 5. So thanks a lot, Howie. So I got a classic Howie story. This is one. For several years, me and Big Dave, who's there, he's the tall guy with the sun on his head, and Pete Jordan and our sons, we'd go to Mexico on a father-son trip. And we went like 3 or 4 years in a row down to Mexico. And this one year, Pete and Nick couldn't go for some reason, and Zach got a concussion, Big Dave's son, and we had 3-bedroom condo paid for, a fishing boat paid for, and Dave and I are talking like, plane leaves in 16 hours. Who are we gonna get to go on this trip? So I go online, Denver to Cabo, it's $287 round trip. It's $100 cheaper than when we bought our tickets. And I call up Howie. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Hey, Howie. What's up, Hauser bub? I'm going to Mexico tomorrow, and I'm wondering if you want to go with me. Who are you going with? Big Dave. He's like, so I said, the plane leaves tomorrow. We've got the condo paid for, the fishing boat paid for. You just got to buy your airfare and pay for your food. And he hesitates like 6 seconds. He says, I'm in. And I said, well, don't you have to like think about it or like check? He's like, no, all I got to do is I got to do lesson plan and, do lesson plan and pack. I'll be ready to go. I said, okay. So you're going to go home, you're going to go back to school, do the lesson plan, and go home and pack. He goes, no, I'm going to happy hour with the Boulder High teachers. So he then goes to happy hour, And then he comes home and does his lesson plan. And then he packs. And it's like 5:30 next morning. We show up at the front door. He comes and gets in the car. And we wait. And he goes, "What are you waiting for?" I said, "I'm waiting for you to go get your bag." He says, "I just bring my backpack." I said, I told Ashley to bring a mask and snorkel, and frizzies. Yeah, I got it. It's all in there. So we get down to Mexico, take showers, getting ready to go to dinner. And he walks into my room and he says, "Hey, how's your bub?" I didn't bring any shirts. So I give him a shirt, and he wears the same shirt for 3 days. And he has the best time in his life. Catches fish, whale watches, all that good stuff. Classic Howie. Classic spirit. No FOMO, because he didn't. He made it. 16 hours later, and went to happy hour with you guys. The other story I have is I did the Gunnison. I like to fish a lot. And we did the Gunnison Gorge one year, just me and Howie. And it was, sometimes when I get fishing, I get a little crazy, and I've been known to yell at my friends. But Howie loved to row, and he had these rowing gloves, and we hike our stuff down on horses down to the bottom of the Black Canyon. We float for 4 days and 3 nights. And finally on the second day, I've caught like 20 trout in the morning in like an hour and a half. And I finally realized Howie has not been fishing this entire time. I've been the only one that's been fishing. And I said, "Hey, Howie, come on, let me row. You come up here and fish." And he said, "How's your bub? I love watching you fish so much. It just makes me so happy. I just love you. Just keep fishing." And that's it, right? That's Howie. He wants you to do what makes you happy, and he wants to support you, and he wants all of that. And we could all come up here and tell 25 of these stories apiece, whether it's on the golf course or the camping or here or there. But the things that really, my voice is not normally like this. I'm really not sad at all. These stories are great, and we love that spirit of Howie and all that, but it's the Tuesday afternoon when he just calls you and checks in. And he's in the neighborhood because he's at the girls' soccer practice, and he just wants to say hi. And he wants to know how I'm doing. And he wants to know how Sienna and the kids are doing. And he wants to know if there's time for a drink. And he wants to know how my mom's doing. Hey, how's Faye doing? And he goes beyond that thing of a friend. And that's what makes Howie special. The spirit is awesome, and the FOMO is awesome, and never saying no is awesome. But I'm sure everyone also has a story of the day that he called you when you were having a bad day. And he picked you up. He was kind of always there. And he's going to leave a huge hole in our hearts. Now I'm going to get my speech out. But that's, I'm going to miss you, bub. I'm always going to try to be there. One more game, one more Jack Weiss game. Doesn't matter what game you win as long as it's the last one. It's called the Jack Weiss game. I don't know where he came up with that. Stewie? You tell me later. Okay, I just want to read, when I was coming up here, I was getting something from my son, Henry. He actually wrote me a little note about Howie. And my son doesn't write little notes. He said, wanted to say I'm really sorry about Howie. It's crushing he was one of those adults who always was around when I was little, and I know he was your guys' best friend, but he had a big impact on our lives too, on my friend group. He cared about our well-being and always made an effort to check in at school. Taught us how to have fun, but also wouldn't let us get away with any bullshit. Always smiling, always energetic, always, hey, Bob, I'm going to miss him. So that was from my son. And, the other expression I came up with was Howie Diem. And it's, if you translate that in Latin, it means how you seize the day according to Howie. And I hope no one speaks Latin here. But, you know, I will be saying Howie Diem a lot because God bless him. I'll think of him every day. Thank you.
I'll just say a couple things while we're waiting for. I was thinking it would be darkness after Peter's discussion, but it's still daylight out, so you really cut it short, Pedro. My name is Pete, also Pedro to Howie, and also Petey to Howie when we were in the middle of a game and I wasn't doing well. Come on, Petey. You got this, Petey. I don't know if he must have just attached an E and a Y to everybody's, name. Grando. Anyway, I met Howie more recently than a lot of people here, and was equally impacted. It's just amazing. He just made you feel like you were about to do something great. Damn, man, it's unbelievable. And of course, a lot of stuff we did together was around goofing off. Middle of winter, coldest day. Hey, Pedro, let's go do something. I'm like, how about racquetball? He goes, yeah, good idea. I'll meet you at North Boulder Rec. Go into North Boulder Rec. We're playing. He's kicking. He's like, hey, did you know that I was almost a state champion in racquetball in high school? I was like, Howie. First of all, you get racquetball? And then I was like, that figures, you jerk. He was totally the setup man. He's beat me 14-2, Hey, by the way, did you know that? No, I did not know that, Howie. We got great conversations and texts from Howie even in his last few years, and they were always upbeat, and they were always perfect, and they were always Howie. He introduced me, at least, and our friends who golfed with him, the birdie shot, the birdie flask. The birdie flask. Oh my gosh, the birdie flask. And so, if you got a birdie, everybody had to take a shot from the birdie flask. And then after a while, you had to get your own birdie flask. And so there was a thing of getting a birdie and then having a birdie flask. And of course, in Howie's inimitable way, hey, you know what? We all got pars. That's actually pretty close. Let's get the birdie flask out. So I took a little walk by myself on Thursday with Howie by my side, and just played a few holes of golf, and it was so right with me, and but the son of a gun wouldn't let me get a birdie, and finally I kind of got mad at him, like, let's go, Howie, what the hell, and then right as I was finishing up, of course it doesn't matter, but like the last two holes were great holes, and I'm like, thanks, Howie, good enough, man. So birdie flask to Howie. Howie was just, it's great. It's so great. And he's just, when we saw him last week, he said, you know what, Pedro? I got to tell you something. I'm going to keep beating you in golf. You know why? Because I'm getting really, really good in my own mind. So he's like, I've been watching videos, and I've been thinking a lot about this, and I'm thinking I'm going to be right next to you, and I'm going to be shooting in the 70s. He's like, do you shoot in the 70s? No, I don't shoot in the 70s. He goes, yeah, I think I'm going to beat you. Yeah. in his own mind. And he said that, he's going to be with us always. So I just wanted to interject a couple of Howie beautiful, amazing thoughts, because we're all going to cry today, but while you're with him, and he will be with us, it's so goddamn fun, and he just pressed it. So thank you. I just want to say a couple quick thoughts on our boy Howie. Cheers.
Hello. Maybe a little bit, I guess. So I'm Brian Donaldson. You may probably know me as BD. Hey, BD. I started working at Boulder High School in 2008, and pretty quickly realized what a special place it was. And part of that, what made Boulder High such a special place, was Howie. Man, he just took me under his wing right away, and God, the guy just knew how to have so much fun. He was just such a special person. Everything was a chance for fun. There's a fire drill. BD, let's throw the disc. We're whirling the frisbee between kids, We taught Avid together with Melissa and Jennifer, and we went to this trip to San Diego. And a couple of us stayed after the Avid trip, and it's maybe 12:31, and we're going to bed, and there's 4 of us in a hotel room, and Howie and I are on the floor, and I lay down to go to bed. Howie comes over and kicks me, says, "BD, what are you doing?" "We're in San Diego, man. There's no time for that. Let's go throw the disc." And I was like, "Oh, Howie, I'm tired." He's like, "Come on, man. Come on. We're only here for 2 more days. Come on, let's go do it." So we go out to the beach, and we stopped and got a case of beer, of course. And we go out to the beach, and we're throwing the frisbee, and I'm like, "All right, yeah, I could do an hour. That's fine, whatever, big deal." We go to bed. And, he starts off, "Hey, all right, we got to get 30 in a row. We got to get 30 in a row, Okay, I could do this, and then, we'll be in bed soon. As soon as we get to 30, he's like, "Yeah, we're doing great. All right, how about 40? It's good, 40 in a row. We get 40 in a row." So, it's just, that's Howie, right, man? Every moment is a moment for fun and to push yourself. And I could go on, and I could tell so many stories about what an amazing guy he was. We all know. And in addition to pushing people to be better just as people, Howie really inspired me in my career as an educator. He was just so kind, so patient, and he really knew how to reach the kids. And those kids that had him as a teacher are very lucky. And there have been many times where I'm about to just lose my crap with a student. Michaela was probably one of them, probably Emily. And I would just think in my head, like, all right, how would Howie handle this situation? So, right? Yeah, right? And just a very special guy, very special presence, and I'm very happy that I got to be his friend. I'm very happy that he took me under his wing. And whenever he would call, and we'd be hanging out with Sweeney and John, Marissa would be like, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to hang out with the old guys." She knew what that meant, And so before I go, the other night in the insomnia state, I started thinking a little bit about Howie as I was laying in bed and couldn't sleep, and just was kind of saying his name, and this idea came to me, and this is a poem that I wrote. So it's probably the first poem I ever wrote, so don't get your hopes too high. It's called How We Should Live. With love and laughter is how we should live. With generosity and devotion is how we should give. With a big smile and beer in hand is how we should play. With a lust for life is how we should live every day. With playful competition is how we should play games. Turkeys and jokers is how we should call each other names. With accuracy and precision is how we should throw into better versions of ourselves, is how we should grow. With patience and enthusiasm is how we should teach. To the skies and for the stars is how we get our students to reach. With vigor and tenacity is how we should fight. By thinking of others is how we do what is right. By opening doors is how we build community. By loving all is how we strive for peace and unity. With kindness and respect is how we should love, and being like Howie is how we do all the above. By remembering all the good that he gave is how we should grieve. All of this is a legacy that Howie will leave. Thank you all. And one thing I'd like to also say is worth pointing out is I'm so happy Howie found Wendy, and I'm so happy Wendy was there to fight with him. So Wendy, thank you so much.
Anybody else? Okay. It was Lauren.
I normally don't do this, but I killed it when my mom's husband passed, so I'm going to give it a try.
Speak right into the mic.
Sorry. I'm here for Howie the early years. Lucky enough to have gone to Boulder High. Not lucky enough to have had a teacher like Howie. And then CU freshman year, 82. You can do the math, I'm not gonna. I met an incredible bunch of people. Howie was across the hall. There are 5 of us from that year here today, and they are my foundation. And Howie pissed me off because he can talk to anybody. It doesn't matter where, when, how. He starts talking to people. And it pisses me off because I wish I could do that. And it's a quality that I just don't have. And then Mike and I wound up living with Jeff for 3 years. I remember stepping on bottle caps because he'd flick them across and then not pick them up. So one year, if you've been around Boulder long enough, when KBCO was still KBCO, and they have the Kinetics Festival, we'd all go out every year for that. We never did build anything for that, but they also had a cardboard downhill derby for a few years up at Eldora. And for some stupid reason, I got in my head that I could build one of these things because I had a ready supply of cardboard from my dad's work. So I built a really lame dragon because I had some robes for a Halloween costume that I could wear and make it a theme. So I built this. I was up like for a week, late into the night in the garage building this thing, and it really did blow. But so day comes by, we all pile in the blue bomber, for those of us that remember that, with the thing on the hood, and we're like holding it. I don't even think we strapped it down. We're holding it to the top of the, to the roof. We get up to Eldora, and we have to carry this thing up the mountain, which we do. And it gets time, and so it's a green slope, little bunny slope, and goes down. There's a little lip, and then you go down for, 150 yards or something. So I get up there, and I sit on the thing probably for the first time. I didn't have time to test it out. I was building it till that morning. And it's got a high center of gravity. I go, this isn't going to work. I'm like, Jeff, stand on the back. Come on. Be my ballast. And he's like, sure. jumps on, and it's our turn, and we go down the hill, and we get to that little lip, and we nose right into it and fall over. You quickly scramble, pull the thing back up, and I try and make a flying mount onto it, and of course the thing caves. And we both fall down. And this flask, this hip bottle of Jack falls out of Howie's pocket and starts sliding down the hill. And we look at each other for a moment, and we go, and we didn't have to speak, but it was like, I'll go for the dragon, you go for the flask. And we're jumping, at this point it's just the base, the sled. We're like trying to get it to go down the hill still, and Jeff's trying to get the flask, and every time he reaches for it, it pops out and goes further down the hill. And literally like 7 to 10 of these efforts to get down to the bottom of the hill. And we finally get down to the bottom of the hill. And we both roll over on our backs, and we look up, and there's this trail of cardboard debris all the way down the mountain. And we don't care. We had fun. We went for it. That's how you go for it. Whenever you do things with Howie, you go for it. And then I made the tactical error of leaving Boulder for about 18 years. But I always come back, and he's always there. We go cross-country skiing, whatever. When we go cross-country skiing, those of you who have ever done this with him know that, like everybody else has said, he's out front. He's leading the way. He's setting the pace, a pace I couldn't keep up with. So I'm like by myself for 20 minutes or whatever, and back in the trees. I'm like, all right, I'll stop. I'll listen to the birds. I'll listen to the wind. I'll enjoy being present in the moment. And then, of course, he comes skiing back down, make sure I'm okay. Didn't hit a tree, didn't die. And then he's back up to where everybody else is, and I'm still bringing up the rear. But it was fun. It was always fun. And I'll conclude by saying everybody has mentioned what a gift Jeff was. Well, he's a gift that keeps on giving. And he's not gone. He's with us, and he will be with us until we're all gone.
I just wanted to give a final Thanksgiving for Jeff and all of our lives, how blessed we've been to have him with all the stories, to have his Boulder family here, his own little family, the Howie family. He's blessed us all with so many wonderful memories. To his children, Zoe, Camille, Henry, Carly, and Emily, feel our love with you all the time, and know that we are always all here to support you guys in any way that we can. And especially to Wendy, which I know all of us know, if she hadn't been part of his life these past years, as much as we all loved him, he wouldn't have gotten to where he was. And she's been through hell, and she knows our love is there for her, that she's got the healing she needs, and she feels our love surrounding her, and that she reaches out to us when she can. Thank you to everyone.
Some business that you guys didn't know. I'm Elizabeth. I'm just goddaughter. I'm going to try my best to get through this. I'm not the best at public speaking, so I apologize for that. But we all have so many great stories about him. But something that I've been thinking of recently, a few months ago, my husband
was driving and he saw this abandoned, like, free tandem bike on the side of the road. And he passes it, and immediately after passing it, he thinks to himself, man, Jeff would be so disappointed. So he turned around and he picked it up and he brought it home. So we've had this like rusty tandem bike sitting in our garage for the past few months. But he texted Jeff and told him the story. And he said, I thought to myself, what would Jeff do? And they both had a nice chuckle about it. And you know, these past couple weeks, I've been kind of trying to make that my mantra, because it applies to so many different aspects of life. You know, whether it be bringing life to an old bicycle that you see on the side of the road. I'm gonna teach you. Whether it be dealing with the curveball that life's given you, whether it be dealing with the loss of loved ones, or in my case, dealing with a very opinionated toddler. He would attack each of these things with such like energy and perseverance and life and spirit. Something that almost feels impossible to attain, but you know, I'm gonna make that my mantra for the rest of my life. And Godfather, I know you're here, and I promise that I will talk of you fondly and often. And my children will know you, and their children will know you, because you're going to live in all of us.
I can take it off. I messed it up now. There we go.
Thank all of you for coming and sharing your lives with Jeff. That means a lot to all of us, that he has such a wonderful family out here. Thank you.
All right, just one last little story. I am Jeff's niece, not his goddaughter, but his niece. And I just have a story of him that keeps popping in my mind. That it was our first infamous Howie trip back in Alaska in '97. And I remember there were mosquitoes out there like crazy. And Jeff catches a mosquito in his hand and he looks at me and he says, if you just explain to the mosquitoes that they hurt people when they bite them and then you let it go, the mosquito's gonna look at you and go out and tell all of his mosquito friends not to bite you. And that's gonna start this whole thing. And I think that that just describes Jeff in a nutshell. Looking for the good in every single person, thing, being. I grew up to learn that his message there was not true. Mosquitoes will still bite you, regardless. But I just wanted to share that happiness there. My son is named after my father, Joseph, my grandpa, Edward, and his nickname is Jay, which is what our family calls Jeff. And my son and my niece, Zoe, who you've seen running around here, they all call him JJ. So Jeff and JJ will live on forever in all of us. And my son has some huge shoes to live up to. But JJ, if he can grow up to be half the man you are with the zest of life that you had,
we will be proud.
We got. I don't know if there's more. Yeah, we do. I don't want to do one.
Yeah, I got one too.
You want to hold it? Long as you can hold it.
Yeah, whatever.
My name's Lee. Some of you know me as Kathy. Can you hear me?
I might have got turned off.
Okay, let's see. It says channel 4.
Should be good.
Test.
Yeah.
Closer. Okay, so John and Sweetie were just asking if I'm ready, and of course I'm not ready. Nervous, we're actually ready. But here we find ourselves. So mine is just a little bit different because I did think Howie would be here today. So I'm speaking to Howie here, so indulge me. You're his audience, but Howie. When I've been to life celebrations, I've been struck by two thoughts. I find I learned something about the guest of honor. And since they are always beautiful and tender moments, I think to myself, too bad the center of all this attention doesn't get to be here. This time, I really did think I was going to share this day with you, everyone else who is here. And I know you were looking forward, in that odd sort of way, of being at your own eulogy. I love you, Howie, and I miss you. And I'm so sad for what your family has lost, and what you have lost, and what your friends have lost, and what the world has lost. A good and caring person, and a vivacious and bright light. You taught me through your many actions how to be a better person and how to try and live a bigger life. Your friendship and your presence were gifts that I will try to share for the rest of my days. So Howie, I wrote you a little eulogy. Hey friend and farewell is the title. How would I describe you? Just like pretty much everyone. Energetic, questing for adventure, compassionate, full of fun. But describing our friendship, that's harder to explain. Because over these last years, our time together really has waned. Is the measure of a friendship the experiences of day to day? No, not your wife, your kids, and friends with whom you play. You are Mr. Adventure, so did we run, ski, or hike? No. Nor did we climb, boat, or bike. In racquetball one time, you walked me 21-3. Then revealed, as you've been revealed to earlier, that you were runner-up to the state champ. I didn't do that again. No, sir. Did we unite to trot the globe, venture to other locales and countries? Yes, but not together. Our furthest and only trip was to Mesa Verde with 84 eighth graders. Wakey, wakey. Is there some other indicator then to show that we have stayed connected as friends across decades in some meaningful and profound way? I could reminisce and recount tales. My 29th birthday, your hot tub house, back when we were a little reckless, back when Tony and Janique first became spouses. Or is it just that we've known each other for such a long time that makes us think somehow we were tethered, that we share in some kind of bind? From the most fleeting of intros, one day at CU, hey, this is my friend Jeff. Hey, good to meet you too. Then a class and student teaching, while carpooling in my car or yours to Arvada you would drive, to not riveting conversation, only my snores. You'd walk back to my school because so often I ran late. Little did I know then that was our fate. More than classmates, more than colleagues. What then was our friendship? The loyalty, the give without ask between us was how we were energetic. This was a big moment for me, Howie. The 2013 flood, while we were all gone, you mailed us in Indonesia, saying you had checked in on my mom. You rooted for our kid when he was so headstrong. So many things without us asking, naturally, without you pondering long. Dr. Wong sent you home, but I saw you and thought, someone beats the odds. It's you. Still this you got. You were tired. I didn't stay long, thinking that another time wouldn't be far along. But even in passing, you showed us a way, true to you even in darkness, the radiant path you have laid. I know you want to be here. You said you were not ready. So much left you could do with your beautiful loved one left unsteady. Your light has moved on, Howie, but your beacon here still shines. For as long as you have us in memory, you will not decline. And when you arrive, greeting by those who pass before you, hope you find some skis for water and snow, frisbees, some golf clubs, washers, cornhole, a pickleball court. Well, you get the idea. A place fitting for a fun hog, but also someone so revered. Godspeed, old pal. I miss you already. May your journey to paradise be battle-free, especially. I love you, Wendy. Howie showed up, and we showed up for you, Howie, and we're here for you too, Wendy, Carly, Emily, all of his friends and family.
All right, play some games. 2 out of 3.
We have games set up in the front yard. We have space back here in the backyard. And Dad would be offended if no one played a game. He always said, he was like, no one's going to play a game unless I'm the one there getting everyone, finding to force them to play a game. So let's prove him wrong. And yeah, let's party for a little while. Thank you all for being here.
Cheers to our friend Howie and how he embraced life. Salud.
Oh, that means we need music again, right?
Oh yeah, music! Thanks a lot.
This worked out.
Let's see if it worked.
Win?
Yeah.